Melissa, you can start us off because this is all you right here.
You put me on the spot. All right. Hello, everybody. Happy Saturday. We hope that you have had a great week. We hope that your day has gotten started to a good point today. It is what 2 o'clock here in Virginia, and but I'm not the only one that's on today. As you guys can see, it's 4 of us today. And we are all in different time zones, as the post said, so that just different women in different time zones with different opinions. And so today we are basically talking about the modern day mom. And so we have LaGina, who is from Luray Talks. We have Tanisha, who is from F Being a Baby Mama. And we have Bella from Bella Credits. I can't see her just yet, but she'll be joining us as well. Please put, I guess, in the comments and say hey to us, just so we know we're not talking to ourselves. We're just chatting it up, nothing formal. Just having a good time on a Saturday afternoon. How are y'all
Hello,
doing,
Bella.
ladies?
Hey.
Good. Hey.
Doing good.
Hey, good. So, well, go around and introduce yourself so that those that are watching, I kind of said a little something, but introduce yourself so those that are watching know who you are. And I guess we'll start with Tanisha.
Put me on the spot now. Hi, I'm Tanisha from F Being a Baby Mama, and the message behind my movement is to show the narrative of black moms doing the damn thing, not what society's showing us, and to actually show black moms not discrediting their the black dads, because I know society tends to believe that the black dad is the most absentee father, which is not. I Googled it. So you can Google it. They're actually more active than any other race of men. And for me, I choose my story as a blueprint of examples for women to see. It doesn't matter the situation. You do not have to ever jump out of character when you're in an unforeseen situation with your kid's father. You can remain who you are and go on with your life and still build a solid foundation with your children.
Good. I like that. And Bella?
So my name is Bella Jones. I am a financial strategy coach. I offer a variety of products and services to help my clients and my students change their mindset about their credit, how they manage their money, and think about building wealth. In our community, as African Americans, financial literacy is not something that we talk about enough. So I use my platforms to encourage people to take control of their finances, because where you are today does not determine your future, right? You can make steps today to change your outlook financially. More importantly, to help your children have a better foundation, building generational wealth. So that is my focus in my business.
I like that too. That is so true. That is so true. And the mastermind behind this whole production that y'all see today, Legina, introduce yourself to everyone.
Hey, y'all. My name's LaGina. I'm the founder of Luray Infinity. And through my brand, I believe in uplifting women and supporting good people and the things that good people do, and bringing just love and light to community. My podcast is the Luray Infinity Let's Talk podcast, where we talk about the unapologetic stories of women, letting them tell their story the way they want to tell it in their own time, in their own truth, with no judgment. Like, we all have to do our things to get by, especially mothers. So I am so excited to be here with four or three mothers, and somebody I view myself as a honorary mother to a lot of kids, and I'm excited to be in on this conversation.
Good. Look, I'm glad we got this together, y'all. And I didn't even introduce myself. So I am Coach Risa. I'm like, you didn't even say nothing about yourself. So
It's because you're
I'm Coach
humble.
Risa.
Right.
Yes, most definitely have to stay humble. I'm Marissa Cuffee, also known as Coach Risa. I'm the founder and CEO of Butterfly Fly. I help busy single moms say yes to themselves so that they can make their dreams come true before the empty nest. Because, mom, you are more than just a single mom, and you come first. So, y'all, let's just dive in. There's nothing formal. We just chatting it up on a Saturday, just like we did about a month ago on Instagram.
Right.
Yeah.
That was
And
so cosmic, y'all. We all just like, y'all, we were all watching the Butterfly Fly live stream. And
Yep.
I'm sure we're all like individual fans, and we just all start going crazy in the chat while she's talking, while Marissa's talking, and then we all like Marissa put us in a side chat. I was like, we need to have a conversation.
Right.
I get hyped when I hear about it because it's like today's women have the pressure of back in the day. And they say, oh, back in the day, a woman wouldn't have did this, or back in the day, you wouldn't have never seen. Of course, you wouldn't have seen it back in the day because there was no social media to record it from back in the day.
Right.
And times
Right.
have changed. Back in the day, you would stay with a relationship for 30 years because you didn't have an education or you didn't have money to provide for yourself, so you were stuck. This ain't back in the day. And then back in the day, oh, once you have a child, it's like the world expects you to give up who you are to raise that child. Like, what about you? I told my girlfriend, we ain't throwing no more damn baby showers. We throwing mama showers. Bring the mama some gifts. The baby gonna be okay. The baby gonna be
yeah,
okay. Why
hello.
you bringing the baby? Why you bringing the baby to give? The mama got to go through postpartum depression. She got to go through her
Right.
body changing. She got to
Yep.
figure out what she gonna do next. No, don't bring that baby. Bring Pampers only and bring the mama some gifts. Worry about the mama.
I
I don't
second
think
that
I don't
motion.
think that's fair because it's almost like they want you to kill you to just be a mom. How can you be a great
Right.
mom if you're not even happy in your own life? So I don't like none of that back in the day. Once you
Yeah,
have a child, it's all about the child. No, no,
Agreed.
no. I don't. No. I travel, I kick it, I hang out when I want to, and my kids still turned out fine. It's almost like they put in your psyche that if your how to say, your credentials of a mom is based on the production of your children. My children are
right.
21, 19, 16, and my daughter be 11 months. And what I have learned is you can raise your kids who you want them to be, but don't be upset when they turn out who they supposed to be. And that has nothing to
Yes.
do with you.
Yes.
That has nothing. That
Absolutely.
has
Yep.
nothing. It's almost like I used to pride myself on my kids. The most sports they was in, oh my God, my son was valedictorian. Then that's great. That's the fruits of my labor. But at the end of the day, when you get that child that's doing the stuff that you don't want nobody to know about, do you still praise them then? It's like for me, that's
Mm,
still my child. But society wants you to be like,
right.
oh, if your child did that, that's a reflection of you. No, the reflection of you is when your child mess up, they go back to what you taught them to keep them
Right.
grounded. Them messing
Yeah.
up is just them exploring life, but society will blame that on you and say, well, if you was this type of mom, it don't matter what type of mom you are. As long as you point to your child and still remain who you are, your kid will be okay. But society has you thinking that once you become a mom, your life is just about the mom. Like you have no dreams, you have no
Yeah.
goals, you have nothing. I tell my kids all the time, I was a really cool person before y'all came along and started stressing me the hell out. Be cool. I
Yeah,
got
and
friends. I got friends too.
yeah, and
Right.
eventually as a human, like no matter how you're raised, and my parents raised the shit out of me. Like they were dope, they were amazing. But like eventually I have to, as a human, just take responsibility for, whatever I do, regardless of what cards got dealt to me or whatever. Cause I know personally I've made some terrible decisions. And walking into the decision, because I had the right upbringing, whatever that may be, I knew I was walking into a terrible decision, but I was like, you know what? I need to go down this road. I'm a
Right.
Cancer. I needed the experience, and I was like, yeah, I shouldn't be with this guy, but I'm gonna try it. and that did not have anything to do with my parents, because my parents were like,
Right.
I
Right.
love you, and I'm like, thanks.
Right. So I definitely want to speak on that because I know one thing when it comes to our parents raising us, they're raising us in the scope of what they understand and their experiences. But now the world has progressed to a different level, right? We have social media that adds a whole different level of complexity that, you know, parents may not be able to handle that. That adds outside influence more so than ever before. So how do you maneuver through that as a parent? So back to what Tanisha was saying, you can't grade yourself on the outcome of your children. It kind of goes back to giving them that foundation. So if they do mess up, they have the values and the base foundation to eventually turn their lives around. And the biggest thing as parents, where what we should focus on is being that support system and having them understand that we are here for you. We love you. We support you. Like I know my parents, they love me unconditionally. Good, bad, and different. Where I did things where it
Mhm.
was like, girl, what are you doing? Right? But they always let me know they loved me. They were there for me. They weren't judging me. And that's the most important part when it comes to parenting.
Do you know, and to piggyback off
Wow.
what you said, my daughter that's 21, I told her she could mess up her life for 6 more years and still come out on top. She's 21. People,
Right.
it's almost like they feel like you got it. 21, you better do this. 25, you better do this. 30, you better do this. 35, you dying before you even living because you trying to hit these milestones at these certain age. I told my daughter you could mess up for 6, 7 more years and your life will still be okay. Even though I don't want her to
Right.
mess
Yep.
up, I just give her encouragement when stuff not going right because social media have these kids nowadays thinking you have to be making $1 million in a week and you got to live in the Hamptons
Right.
and drive this car. Your life is girl. No, you got time.
Right. So to speak on
Yeah.
that, right, you
Tanisha,
can't
we can't
compare your real life to someone's highlight reel. People are not putting their
yeah.
struggles on Instagram and Facebook. They're putting the highlights, the best parts. So you can't compare your real life struggles and stories against someone's perfect life on Instagram. It's night and day.
Yep, I agree. And Tanisha, you said it. You are dying before you even living. Let's not
What?
even skirt. Look, you said that real smooth, and I can't. We can't just skirt past that. That is deep. You are dying before you are even living. Y'all look. I'm loving this
That's
conversation. That was deep. That I don't even know what to say. That you
that's
in
the way
those
it
few
is.
words you said
The way I
powerful.
feel.
Right.
It's true. It is so true. It is so true. Oh my God. So, like you said, with being a mom, and with the way we were raised, like you, Bella, you said it as well. Like, okay, yeah, I was raised good, but it was decisions that I made, you know? And Tanisha, like you said, with when, a person is, like you have other kids and your kids are different age ranges. So, of course, they grew up in different times. Like, I just have my one daughter, but my oldest nephew is like my son. He was born in the 90s. So me helping him in the 90s, helping my sister raise him in the 90s, and then raising my daughter right now is two completely different things you know and so
Absolutely.
that is true, like
Absolutely.
the expectation of being a parent is different.
Yeah, so
it,
Yeah.
it is
Yolanda
really.
says, so true. We didn't always listen to our parents, and our grown kids don't
Uh-huh.
always listen to us.
Right. Hey,
No,
Yolanda.
and that's the
How are
thing.
you?
Yeah. Hey,
I'm going. I
Yolanda,
got
and that's the
grown
thing
kids
about.
right now.
I do as well. So one thing I do want to focus on too when it comes to parenting that you have to be able to shift and pivot and be flexible because the world is
Yeah.
changing every single day. So for example, the way we make money, right? Because as a financial strategy coach, that's what I focus on, right? Our parents lived in a time or grew up in a time where you could work for a company for 30, 40 years, have a pension, retire, and live amazingly, right? And sometimes live off of one
Mm-hmm.
income. Now we are in an age where you don't have to work a 9 to 5 to make money. You can do a number of things to make money. So, but you as a parent have to be open to these different things because our kids have so many other things available to them. I know too many parents who want their kids to be a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher. Now, while those are amazing professions, and yes, they can make good money with it, is that what your child really wants? Like I told my children, what you decide for
Right.
your future and career is really up to you because you have to live with it. Now, am I here to help you? Absolutely. Figure out what you like, what you don't like to be the support that you need. but they have to be able to maneuver through this new age where they don't have to work for someone to make money. But as parents, you have to kind of be able to, cultivate that and support them in that. But too many parents are stuck in their old, back to what you're saying, the old school ways of doing things. And do I want to see my kids struggle to work for somebody in their 9 to 5? That's not what they want. No, I want to see you have your passion and make money to do it. And I'm here to support you in that. So as parents, you have to be flexible in
So I have a
how the world
question.
is changing.
Yes,
Yes,
I,
Yeah, so I have a question for all three of
I
y'all.
agree.
Being mothers, single mothers. Hopefully, some of y'all. I know about somebody's relationship and how good it's going. So all this kind of stuff. But y'all, I really do. I really do follow you on Instagram. So don't think this is a game. Um, but because I've been the misstepper, is a child, and my mother, my dad, when he was alive, like supported me and loved me. What is the most challenging thing about being a mother and knowing your child's about to do the wrong thing, but knowing that you need to let them make that choice or that wrong step that may end up being right for them? Maybe Marissa, you want to start us off?
Yeah, for me, I can say it is definitely hard. And it can be stressful, like especially when, see, me and my daughter we just have an open relationship. And when I say open, meaning sometimes she tells me things that I don't even want to know. And so and so I'm like, I really did not want to know that. But I'm grateful for it, and so to answer your question, the main thing is I like to do things and focus with the end in mind. And so, yeah, she may do something, or our kids may do something that we know is not gonna be good. But as long as I'm there in the end, and I'm there to help her so that she doesn't make the same mistake again, or to not fully do the same thing again. You know what I mean? So
right.
that's my answer to the question, is just making sure that I'm there and I'm available for her after the fact.
Okay, I hear you. Tanisha, what is your thought on it? Like modern day mom, let's say I'm your daughter, I'm just steady, just going down the wrong path. And I know you're gonna give me the real, right? Because I know who you are, right? And I know you're gonna give me guidance. But how do you accept this? How do you accept what I'm doing?
Look, I be trying to censor myself because I get too real. Because for me, I
Be
put
real.
myself, I put myself in my daughter's shoes. I eliminated I'm the mother. I put myself back in the time when I was her age, and I give her the answer from there. Because believe me, I know when I know when it's about to go wrong because I already been done it, and
Done done it all.
I give a birth case scenarios. This what you can do. This what's gonna happen, or you could go this way. Either which way, I'm there for you. And my daughter just be like, "Mom," I be like, because I could look at. Let me tell you something. I come from the south side of Chicago. I can spot a piece a mile away, and my daughter raised in the suburbs, they might don't spot it that quickly. And I be like, mm, mm, baby. And I would say, I said, baby, look, you know who your daddy is. Look, that's not about to be a good choice right there. I know that type because that's the type out with that pick at your age. And even when it comes to jobs, like
Yeah.
what Bella was saying about the job, my children, they went to really good schools, they got really good educations, and I put them in activities and sports early because I want to make sure they got a scholarship. I want to make sure they got into the best colleges. So when it was time for that, when it was time for colleges and stuff like that, it was like my mind started to shift because I, the money, my savings, my investments, 401k, 457s, insurance, all that, it's the old school way. It's the way that I was programmed to my mind 20 years ago. So when I think about how I am in my 9 to 5, I'm sick. And like I tell my kids, what I've done in the past got us to where we are financially thus far. This is not the way I want to keep going forward from 42 on down to my 60 because times have changed. And I tell my kids right now, you're in a position where you ain't got to work for nobody. You can build something and have them work for y'all. When I still have other friends pushing their kids through college, I'm seeing these young kids making more money in a year than our parents made in a lifetime. So I'm no longer pushing
Yeah.
it. I'm pushing my kids to take their education and use it to monetize it. I no longer even care. Both my daughter graduated from college in her program in December. It's the esthetician program. She got a lash business. My son got a scholarship here because he was over 3.0. So in Chicago, if anybody is over 3.0, you can stay here and get your associates for free. But while he's
Nice.
getting them the prereqs out of the way, I'm in his ear about building to piggyback to keep pushing him to build his business. My other daughter's 16. She works and she forming a boutique. I no longer have that mentality that you have to go to school to get a good job and all that. If you're a doctor or a lawyer and stuff like that, but otherwise you can run your own stuff. So I keep up with the times because me, it's a shame that at this age, that my job status being what somebody would consider a good career, when I leave my job, I'm not even gonna tell nobody. I'm gonna let them think I'm still there because I'm with the times. My grandmother
Right.
said she already promised 70 years on this earth. I'm like, so if I'm 42, how many more summers is that I got left to live? If I'm only promised 70 years. So
Right.
when I leave my job, I'm not even gonna tell nobody. I'm behind the closed doors,
Yeah.
working on what I'm working on, and it's a shame that I even feel like that at this age because I'm like, these are not the times of working nowhere for 30 years. And if the pandemic didn't teach nobody yet, they should have
Right.
taught every parent that even about school. Schools are closed.
Right.
Your kids can't even go get their education, but they still want you to pay for it virtually as if they was on campus. Times has changed. I
Right.
feel like we should let these kids figure their way out because we lived in boxes where figuring your way out was frowned upon. But if we
Yep.
kept doing stuff generation after generation, look where we at. Generation after generation, we not progressing. I can say one thing about this generation:
Oh,
people
real quick,
they're just
Tanisha.
being. Go ahead.
But
Go ahead.
before you go on, let's get Bella's take real quick
Go ahead, Bella.
on the parenting thing, and then we're gonna jump right back in to
Go ahead,
these
Bella.
generations because that's a thing. Bella, how
Absolutely.
about you?
So I think the biggest struggle, because I do have adult children. My son is 22 and he's in the Air Force. He's in Japan right now. My daughter is 18, going on 19. So I have adult children now. And the biggest struggle I would have to say is, learning how to adjust your parenting as your children get older, right? You
Hmm.
have less control, less say so, less input on their ultimate decision. So back to the question, right? You're watching them make a decision that you know is gonna blow up, maybe not go so well. But you as a parent have to really be able to shift how you speak to them to get them to listen. When they're 5, 6, 7, 8, yes, what mommy, daddy says goes, you have no say so. So it's not a democracy, it's a monarchy, right? But as they're coming into their teens, they're 16, 17, 18, you have to kind of shift and pivot how you parent because as they get older, you really have less say so. So you want to be able to have your
Yep.
children understand that they can talk to you about things, they can come to you about things, and you're going to give them the real deal. Back to what Tanisha was saying, but it is ultimately your decision. Like I know my son, for example, was dating this one young lady, and I was like, "Oh, that's not it. That's not it, son. That is not it." And I told him why. Because that's one
Uh-huh.
thing with my kids as they were growing up. It's not just no. My answer is no, and this is why I'm saying no. Because sometimes understanding the
Mm-hmm.
why or my thought process helps them really understand and at least feel better about the no. And he dated some lady. I'm like, son, that's not it. And he's like, Mom, you're being so judgmental. You don't know her. I said, so I see her coming a mile away. Just back to what Tanisha was saying. So now, a year or two later, they break up, and now we can laugh. We like, Mom, yeah, you was right. I don't know. So it's all about wisdom, it's age. And my thing I tell my kids, like, listen, I've done what you've done and better. Because I didn't have social media to track my moves. I could make my moves, do all kind of things, and there's no evidence, right? I've done it a million times and a
Right.
lot better than you, sir and young lady. So I've been there, but they look at you as mom, you don't understand. I said, I understand more than you know, and then some. So trying to make yourself relatable to them also kind of helps, you're still mom,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's really just, like I said, adjusting your parenting style to adjust to the age of the child. Plus, every child is different. What worked with my son does not work with my daughter. My daughter is very hard headed, very much like me. And so I have to parent different to her than I do with my son. So, kind of adjusting and being flexible is the best way to kind of keep the situation good and positive. And I tell
Yeah.
my kids all the time, you don't have to like me, right? You love me, but you're not gonna like me all the time because I'm gonna tell you about yourself. I'm gonna tell you what's what and take it or leave it. And that's what mom is here for.
Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
know. I know in my like godmothering roles, it's crazy. I have 6 godkids, y'all, and I've had godkids since I was 15. Um, because that's the
Wow.
real, and my oldest godkid is not my first godchild. So, which is crazy, but like I know one of my godkids actually went to the college that I was working at. Like I admitted her into school.
Wow.
And yeah, and
Wow.
I was asked to be her godmother right before she turned 18. And like when that happened, like I started taking it seriously. I was like, okay, not only is she my mentee, but like her mother is in a her mother and dad are in a whole nother state in Alabama, and she's here with me in Texas, and she's in college, and vice versa. I went to college in Alabama and my parents were in Texas, so I already know what's up.
Mm,
Like
Oh wow.
I already
right.
like you said, Tanisha, like you said, Bella, like I already done it and I did it better. We did, like I still find printing out pictures and I'm like, ooh, I'm glad that was that one still frame because later that night it went ham. And so not
Right.
only that, but being on this campus with her, and then people being like, "Ooh, so and so, she didn't go to class," and I'm like, "Okay, how do I deal with this?" Like, so I would just tell
Right.
her, and I give her the real, like you said, Tanisha. I kind of just step back and be like, "How do I want somebody to come to me?" Because kids these
Mhm.
days, and this is going into our generational talk, like kids these days, and even when I was there, millennials, and even the end of Gen X, like we don't want no bullshit. Like we want the for real. Like tell us what's
Right.
up
Right.
and let us decide. Like our knowledge will start slowly like coming together. And so I used to tell her, I'm like, yo, don't go to class, I don't give a damn, but you need to know that this and this may happen, and on top of
Yep.
that, because your godmom works at the school, I may beat your ass. Like, and I would just tell her. And
I
it
love
took
it.
her, yeah, and it took her a couple, extra semesters. But when she graduated, I was there. I had the 100 in the hand. I was crying, and
Nice.
she got her feelings hurt because she was like, "Yeah, I'm going out tonight to party," and her parents were like, "No, we're going out tonight and partying." And I took her parents out on the town. We got tore up on me because I was like, we did it. So like
Right.
generationally, like I love the parents that are coming up now. Even my mom, she's just like there. I knew there was a time where it was I'm her child to I'm her child, but I'm an adult. And it was like we started going on vacations together, and I'm paying for my mom
Right.
to go to Jamaica with me. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, okay, this is a little different. So like generationally, it's crazy.
It is. It
Yeah,
Agreed.
is.
it is. And y'all make a good point with it's a thing like some people say that like since we're talking about modern mom, like oh these mom these days are the kids' friends. No, we're not
Mm-mm.
friends, but we can
Mm-mm.
relate.
Yes.
We
Yes.
can relate.
Yeah.
We're not friends. I'm still your mama.
Right.
Yep.
But I can relate to what you're going through. And maybe not totally because, like we said, the times are different, but I can
Right.
relate to what you're going to. I'm
Yeah.
still your mom, and I still can tell you, no, you can't go. And I still
Mhm.
can tell
Mm-hmm.
you, you know, I'm taking your phone. I still can say, go to your room. But
Right.
I don't think that the majority of the mothers right now are the friends. And like Tanisha, with your movement with being labeled as a baby mom, I think people can get things mixed up. You know?
Oh,
Yeah.
they do. They do.
Absolutely. Like I know for me,
Yeah.
parenting never stops, right? As your kids get older, you're always going to be a parent, and then there's different complexities that kind of
Yep.
fall into place. So for me, for example, I my 2 children are from my first marriage. I got married very, very young. I got married at 18, had my kids before I turned 18. So that was one level of right raising my children. My ex and I are now divorced, and now I'm remarried, and we both have children that from our previous marriages. So now the parenting, you know dynamic is really that much harder, right? You're trying to have this blended family situation going on. So before my husband and I got married, we were dating, is trying to raise children, co-parent with the other parents, while trying to have a life as a mom, working in corporate America, trying to go to school, and it just adds so many levels of complexity that it really gets difficult. So having a support system, I would say it definitely has been the best thing for me, whether it's my mom that I could speak to, my
Oh, yeah.
girlfriends I could speak to. I have my
Mhm.
husband who's now my support system. Because you need all, you can't do it alone, right? When you're trying to be super mom, that's one thing I think many of us are just guilty of, trying to be all things to everyone at all times. And that's not realistic. So back what we talked about, I mean, previously, self-care, making sure you're good, making sure
Mm-hmm.
you are okay financially is the best thing you can do as a mom. Having to sacrifice and struggle is part of it, but you can't sacrifice your entire soul and career and well-being to raise your children. And that's like the
Yeah,
worst thing you
yeah.
can do.
Right.
But we kind of have this badge of honor of, oh my God, I sacrificed and I threw my whole life away for my kids. Sis, that is not where it is at.
Yeah, one of my
No,
favorite
it's not.
things. One of my favorite things is when my girlfriends right after they have their kids, because I mean I can count from the end of December of last year till right now. My friends, two, three, four, five babies right now, and I hate COVID for
Oh, wow.
several reasons, but one of them is one of my favorite things is to do pump and dump nights where
Up and down.
Yeah,
y'all, I take my girlfriends out. I'm like, find somebody, the father, the godmother, whoever it is. We're about to party it up
right.
because not only is your body going through some crazy stuff, but you also like the hormonal imbalances, everything. So even if
Yep.
we go to the club and you cry all night, we're about to like pump and dump, and that includes going to the bathroom and squeezing that shit down the sink, like however you got
I
to do
love
it.
you. I love
Yes,
you. I done
all
done it. I did it 20 years ago. I love you. Oh my God, I love it.
but like it's just one of those
Yeah.
things like it's not one of those things anywhere where a mom needs to like stay at home, rock the baby, have black eyes from never going to sleep, and we understand
Uh-huh.
how milk goes through mom's body and all this stuff. So sure, we can pump and dump it. We have the test strips 24 hours
Yep.
later to make sure that the baby can't get drunk, and we keep
Right.
going and all that kind of stuff. So how do y'all co-parent? Because I know that Bella, you said you're remarried, so you're clearly co-parenting with your ex and the new and the husband now. And
Yeah.
Marissa, I know you're parenting, and F being a baby mama, I know you got some
Yeah.
things going.
This me.
How are y'all co-parenting? What does that look like?
So for
I'm
me,
keeping it real
co-parenting
short and
has
sweet.
been
I'm not co-parenting.
go ahead.
No, I'm giving my kid,
I was
my
saying
daughter a
this.
signal. Not you guys.
I'm not co-parenting. He's not around. We don't
Okay.
co-parent. It's what it is. I'm being the best mom I can be, and that's the thing. Like for women who may not have that support, like I don't, the focus is on being the best mom, not being
Got it.
mom and
Right.
dad. Being the best mom, and
Right.
that's my opinion on how to do this thing. Without the support of the father, regardless of whatever happened or the reason why he's not around, his choice, another state, whatever the case may be. The focus is for me, and my daughter's 17, has been being the best mom that I can be, and God is her
Right.
father. And yes, my father is active in my life, and so he's
Yeah.
definitely, a father figure for her. And some years ago, I had found like a little journal she had when she was little. She don't even know this, but she had wrote like he's my. She had wrote in her look. Let me whisper a little bit. She had wrote in her journal like he's my grandfather, but he's my dad.
I
And I
love
was
it.
Oh,
like,
that's
dang,
so
Oh,
cute.
that's
That's
you
cute.
know.
amazing.
Yeah, and so I just make sure, and I've had discussions with him up with my dad about it, and it's like when I talk about, yeah, we're going to daddy's house today, it's kind of like he's daddy to her too. She calls him
Yeah.
granddaddy,
Right.
and
Right.
then
Right. Right.
other older cousins are like male figures, but the focus is on me being the best mom that I can be.
Facts.
Right.
Go ahead, Bella.
Right.
What were you gonna say?
So I was going to say, for me, co-parenting has been a bit of a struggle only because when we split, it wasn't mutual, right? So that adds a layer of complexity to it. But I will have to say, my ex-husband and I eventually figured out what worked for us. My goal was to make sure my kids had as many people around them to love them. So my daughter had swim meets, my son had football games, right? I'm sending emails out to the entire family, his side, my side. We get together for their birthdays. So while he and I had our own issues as far as our relationship, why it ended, who wants to continue and who doesn't, we always managed to kind of focus on the children. because that's really the most important thing. My feelings, his feelings do not matter. At the end of the day, it's all about the children. So the one thing I will say, I've always done my best to keep him informed, because the thing is, too many moms want to bash the father in front of the children. That is by far the worst thing you can do, because I feel like when the things hit the fan, when I need his help, whether my kids are making bad decisions and we have to intervene, his word has to matter. So that is why I've always made sure to put him in the best light, whether he was reliable or unreliable behind the scenes, didn't matter. I needed his word to matter. And he was there when I needed him to help with my children. Then when I got remarried, of course, that made things a little more difficult because now there's still other emotions, right, that are involved. But I will say overall, it has been a positive experience, because at the end of the day, it's about my kids. My kids love their dad. They adore their dad. Right? Whether we all have our faults, right? So I do as a mom,
Yeah.
he does as a dad, but my kids love their dad. They adore him. So it's been overall positive. My kids have both sides of the family. So for example, when it comes to Thanksgiving and Christmas, for example, for Thanksgiving, they spend that with their dad. For Christmas, they spend the morning with my family. They spend the evening with his family. We've always found a way to kind of make it work, but it really comes down to you as the mom setting the tone, setting the standard. This is what I will accept from you as a father. This is what I will not
Mm-hmm.
accept from you as a father, because you
Yep.
ultimately hold all the cards, right? You're the full-time parent. You're the custodial parents. And even though you should be co-parenting and they do have a say so, you really have to set that tone, what the expectations are, because human nature is you teach people how to treat you, right?
Yeah.
So in any situation. So
Mhm.
that's been my experience as co-parenting. And has it been easy? No. And my mom and my parents have been married 40 plus years. They've been together forever. So it's kind of hard to talk to my mom about it because she can't really relate,
Got
right?
it. Yeah.
But she gives me
Yeah.
advice as she can. I have friends who can give me advice as they can. But you have to also trust your instinct, trust your gut, because at the end of the day, your kids really need to come first.
Yeah. And when we're
Yeah.
talking about like modern day moms, for me, it's interesting because, once again, I don't have kids, but I do, right? And so
Right.
modern day
Yeah.
mom and co-parenting for me looks like communicating with the actual parent. And sometimes that can be a challenge because like you're saying, even with parents that are married, right? Like there's a lot of stuff that you have to communicate, like what the kid likes, what they
Right.
don't like, where they're allowed to go, what they can listen to. And I take the lead of the parents. So, like, I'm a cusser, and I have friends that they cuss around their kids, and their kids know not to cuss around, that don't
Right.
cuss. And then I have parents that are like, don't say those words. And I'm like, all good.
Right.
Like, this isn't my decision.
Yeah.
I love your child. I will protect them from you and from the world if I need to, but you are their line of defense first. Um,
Yep.
and so for me, co parenting is one of those things, like really clear lines of communication, and also sometimes calling out parents and being like, look, your damn kid does not act like they do around you, around me. Like when I do your child's hair, they do not scream, they do not cry. I tell them, hey, TT's about to do your hair. Don't play with me. Here's the
Right.
iPad, or I'm cutting it off. And they'll be like, dang. And they may do the little bit of this and all that, but I'm like, they don't fall out and do that. And so you just need to understand as a parent that, you're their safety. So they're going to act a fool sometimes around you.
Yeah.
Tanisha, what do you think about co-parenting? How's that going for you?
Believe it or not, I guess the fourth time was the charm for me. Okay, this co-parent with my youngest child has gone much. It's going way better than it did with my other kids. Like my kid's father always been in the picture. But for me, I always thought my parenting skills was better than his because my mom and my daddy were married. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. You ain't gonna challenge me on no mothering. I know all the rules. But which, that's how I used to think with other kids. Like, no, what you talking about is nothing. Cause this was how my mama did it. This the way it's supposed to be done. But
Right.
that was not fair because my kid's father has always been in the picture. I would go sign my kids up for. I'm gonna give you an example. Traveling Chile and the bill would have been $8,000. I'd be like, okay, so you gonna pay it? I ain't discussing nothing. I'm like, well, I'm the custodian with mom, parent. They always with me. I'm making all the decisions, which was not fair. So
Right.
going forward with Chloe, I discuss everything, and my emotions about our personal relationship is totally off the line. It's not even about how I feel. It's about what's the best move for Chloe. I'm not even emotional about it. I run
Right.
everything by him. Back then, I ain't running nothing by you. They live with me. What I'm asking you for, which was not right. You know what I'm saying? Because he
Right.
never objected. He would pay, or he would show up when he could, or do what he could. But I always made moves without him, which wasn't fair. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
I always tell, when I say, when you're in that baby mama situation, you better make sure you co-parenting and not co-cuddling, because that's how the
Right.
lines get blurred. Your emotions be
Uh-huh.
in it, and you can't co-parent correctly because y'all relationship ain't in order, and you doing everything emotionally. Now with Chloe, it
Yep.
ain't nothing emotional. Ain't nothing. I want everything. Bam, we make a decision and we go for it. All the kids, I make a joke and say T-Mobile was the mediator, because if I don't talk to them, you can pick up T-Mobile and you can download them yourself. But going forward, I don't want to deal with I want less drama and less BS at this age in the game. So
Yes.
I run everything, bam, and we make a decision. So
Yeah. So,
yeah.
y'all, I know I'm asking questions, but I have three different moms in the room and I have all kinds of questions. So, let me know if y'all have something you want to say. But I want to know, like, okay, so okay, cool, good. Thank you. I want to know so birthing. So, I have seen a
Oh,
birth. I have been a part of a birth, like physically in the room, like go, like seeing a baby's head get stuck. It probably sent me back another decade. I've I've had moms that have had epidurals that happen too soon and they wear out. I know moms that have natural birth. I know moms that have gotten cut open to have a C-section. I know moms that have had a VBAC after the VBAC after because they wanted to have a vaginal birth. I know moms that breastfeed, don't breastfeed, all these kind of things. So, what was your birthing plan? And did that damn birthing plan happen?
oh, can I speak on this? Do you
Please.
know?
Go ahead.
I just found out what a birthing plan was now with Chloe. I ain't know nothing about no damn birthing plan, and I was 4 kids. I'm like, you can put rules to this. My rules was my mama had to be there. Whatever my mama said, that's what it was. I didn't know nothing about these birthing plans until now. I'm like, where did this stuff come from? So I didn't know about birthing plans. I
Yeah.
just found out with this
I
baby.
was I was today years old when I heard the word birthing plan. So this is
You
totally
were
new to me
what?
right now. Today years old. Like I literally just learned today about the birthing
Today.
plan. Right now on this live, I learned the
Okay,
word
so
birthing plan.
you know what? Can I interject with that? Because I don't know if this is connected, but I'm sure y'all are about to agree. This goes to the fact that black women are at the highest mortality rate once
Mm.
for having kids. And so like the fact that like we're talking about birthing plans, and this is nothing about being a mom, but just the level of doctors and how doctors respect you and the things that are open to our
Yeah.
communities and communicated to us, like something as little as a birthing plan that could save a life. Like the only reason I know about it is I'm a damn hippie and I've got about 50 different girlfriends from 50 different cities that all have kids,
Hmm.
and I'm a nerd about this stuff. But like when you're planning and you're in the muck of something, like me as an observer is way different than you being in it. Your body is just
Right.
like protect a
Okay.
child, right?
Right.
So that's
Yeah.
nuts. But does that go to the fact that like were y'all nervous knowing the mortality rates and having
My
kids?
mother, my mother had five, and my mother, everybody in my family that delivers a baby, my mother is already there. So when you say birthing plan, I already knew that I wasn't taking pain meds. I'm afraid of needles. I already knew through the door. My mother knew this. My mother, we was on the same page. So I don't know if that was a unwritten birthing plan. All my babies was natural. No medication. Do not shoot me because I'm afraid of needles. So through the door, when they came through, no
You
epidurals for
go,
me.
girl.
My mother was there. When you talk about whether it was between me and the child, my mama already had said, I could get another grandbaby. I can't get another granddaughter. We're going to say the mom. But like my mother could read a contraction chart when I had I'm gonna give you an example. My first daughter was stuck, and the nurse, white nurse, was sitting there on the keyboard doing whatever in the room. My mom said, I need a doctor. My mom said she's not the nurse said she's not ready. My mom said I had packets. I need a doctor. My mom went in the hallway and got a doctor. My baby was stuck. They had to cut my vagina. open and pull her out with
Ooh.
forceps because my mother was looking at me was like, you don't have the urge to push. I didn't. That was my first baby, but I didn't.
So
She
your baby was
naturally
suffocating.
my baby was stuck. My mother had to. My mother went in the
Wow.
hallway and got the doctor herself and the nurse. Oh my God, what's going on? They had to cut me open with no just cut me in my not vaginal area, not a C-section, because the baby was
Right.
stuck and they had to pull her out with forceps.
Wow.
With my last child, they I was induced, and they told me I needed to be induced because I was on the higher, closer end of being 42, and how my placenta would have
Geriatrics.
stopped and all that geriatrics. My mother was pissed from the get when I told my mother what the doctor said. She did not want it. She did not want to hear it. And like my mother was there when the placenta came out. She's like, nothing was wrong with your placenta. So it's like I guess my undisclosed birthing plan has always been my mother. You know, I always
Right.
took my mother with me. It was like I was not delivering a baby without my mother because I was always afraid. So I don't even know if somebody else would have offered what I have accepted because my mother was always my spokesperson when I
Right.
gave
So
birth.
isn't that crazy though? Like you telling me that, like my fist is literally balled up because it's like somebody sitting there typing on a
Yeah,
keyboard
but yeah, that's what
while you're
my oldest
giving
daughter said.
birth
And my mother was telling her to like go get the doctor, and she was like, "Oh, she's fine." My mama told her I'm reading the chart. There's
and
no
your
way she should
mom.
be. My mama said she
Yeah.
should be trying to push. My mama said that. My mama went and got a doctor. Anybody in my family has a baby, my mom is in the room. My mother should have been a doctor. Well, my son, he's
Yeah.
19. I went in labor at 8 months. With 36 weeks, that's a day. 35 weeks, that's a day. The doctor said she going home because she's not even due to February 14th. Remind you, this January 18th. My mama said she ain't going nowhere. The baby here was like they was trying to put their hand in there to see her. My mama, she finna have a baby. Like my mother was always there, and it goes back to this. You said about the mortality rate of the death of black babies
And
since
black
I say
women.
Jay, black women
Right.
with melanated moms. I said, Mama, did this? I'm ignorant, so I said, Mama, did this just start? My mama said, Baby, this just started. Why you think I'm always there? I was clueless. I was more afraid in my 40s,
Wow.
so that's why I started reading more about all of the things with black
Yeah.
women. I had my other kids in my 20s, so I wasn't aware. My mother said that's why I'm always there. My mother was a
Right.
lot like Lale League. She was on the board for the Lale League. That's why I breastfed all of my children. That's why I know about
Yeah.
breastfeeding. It's not nothing new to me. I was 21 breastfeeding a baby when people was like, you need to get a life. You so young to be breastfeed. My mother was always my pillar, my backbone, my
Yeah.
blueprint to be a mom. And I'm thankful for her because a lot of this stuff I'm just reading in my 40s is because I was afraid of giving birth in my 40s.
Mm.
But my mother already knew about it. So that's
Yeah.
why she's
Right.
always was there.
Well, I mean,
So
you had a
Right.
birthing plan. You know, they put a new name on everything. I'm sure it was another name before, but like it seems like
Probably.
your mom was like the safeguard guard for her grandbabies coming into the world because like it sounds to me and you know, God, thank you it didn't happen, but it sounds to me like you could have been one of those statistics
with the
twice.
first one, my
Right.
mother said I could have. She said because there's no way that I
Right.
shouldn't have want to push. My mother was watching. My mama went in the hallway and got the doctor herself, and they started running, and they had to cut me and pulled the
That's
baby out with
crazy.
Right.
forceps. Yeah.
Right.
Marissa, what about you?
Wow. Well, for me, I was 19 when I had my daughter. I did not have a birthing plan. She was not even planned. um, and so basically, the plan that I did have was is that I had to make sure that I was able to provide for me and her. Like I
Yeah.
already, you know how sometimes you kind of already know how things are kind of go. So I already
Right.
had little
The
indications that
intuition.
it was gonna be just me. Yeah, and so I mean, for me, I used that 9 months to really figure out what I was gonna do. How was I going to provide for us? I was working in a hair salon um, on a temporary hair license because I had took the board test and I missed it by some points or whatever. So I still wanted to do hair. So I was pregnant doing hair, and then I was like, okay, you don't have time to build up a clientele for this to be your only income. And so
Right.
that's when I started working in corporate. And so if you want to put plan on it, I knew that I had to have some type of security for us financially. And that's basically my plan, was the plan. Birth wise, delivery wise, I had to have a C-section. And I did get epidural, and I really didn't. it wasn't bad. I mean, surprisingly, if anything, I was hungry because they don't let you
Yeah.
eat. So I had food.
Starving.
I'm funny about food. I'm funny about food anyway. I get a little hangry. So I was hungry more than anything. And so that's what I was upset about. And then as things progressed, because I was like 2 centimeters before, like a month before she was born. By the time we got there, I was 4. And it was all night. I wasn't in any pain. They were like, "Here comes a contraction." I'm like, "Okay, can I get something to eat?" And they were like, "No, I'm 19." So I'm like, my mom was there, my sister was there, and my dad, came and everything. And I'm like, "I'm hungry. Did y'all bring me something to eat?" "You can't eat,"
Nope.
So that was it.
Wait,
And
hold
then the
on. You
only
can't
thing
eat.
was
You can't eat because of what?
You throw
He had
up.
to go into
because you're
surgery.
gonna be, yeah, you're gonna get sick. Either you're pushing and you might poop on yourself,
I've seen that.
or they might need to, yeah, they might need to, if you did eat a little, after you having contractions, they might have to give you an enema so you can empty out, and you can get sick from the medicine, all that kind of stuff.
Vomit.
So no, you
Vomit.
cannot eat. Yeah,
Oh,
vomit,
Yep.
because of like
everything.
all
So
the
you can't.
pushing and
Uh-huh.
And plus, you could vomit and
Yep.
choke on
So
your
you
own
could
vomit as well too. So
that.
okay, okay.
Yep, that too. So had to get a C-section. Look, we helping you out, Regina.
we helping you
No,
out, girl.
look.
Right.
I'm telling y'all, when I was in that room, like my friend had a baby, and I had literally got back from a cruise. I drove back to Austin because I was living there at the time before I moved to Houston. She lived in Houston. I had to turn back around because she got robbed at gunpoint, and she went
What?
into early labor because her blood
Whoa.
pressure wouldn't go down, and the baby was
Okay.
like, "I'm out," right? And actually, she has an episode. Her name's Asia. She's on an episode of my podcast, and we talk about it. But and her husband's on a ship in the middle of the sea at the time, her ex-husband now. And so me and my other line sister, we're like, we got this. We drive from Austin and Dallas. We're in there. The nurse, white nurse, gave her epidural too soon before we got there. And she was like, she told my friend, my line sister Asia, that she was lucky to get an epidural at all. Okay. And
Mm.
this is when we're coming in the room, and I was on fire because like I was like, this is not how this works. Like, you were paying
Right.
for this service. But anyways,
Absolutely.
yeah, I saw all the stuff. I saw the head stuck and going back
Ooh.
and forth. I saw the epidural not work because it was too far in advance. I saw the rips. I saw the poop. I saw all this stuff. And
Ugh.
and I don't think I knew about mortality rates at the time, but I was just like, the way these nurses were talking to her was just it was almost like degrading. Like and
Oh
for
wow.
me, I imagine this nurse to
Mhm.
be like a person that's like almost like, like there
Yeah.
to love and support. And
Yes.
because the nurses I've dealt with, especially nurse practitioners, are like the barrier between you and the dumb doctor that's not listening, which is a sad statement anyways.
Right.
So to hear
Right.
these stories, I'm
Mhm.
just like, yeah.
Wow.
Bella, what was your experience?
So I had an amazing experience with both of my births. So with my son, I was 15 going on 16 when I gave birth to him. I had a black woman as my OBGYN. My
Okay.
mom is a nurse, so they must have had the plan in place. I went to preterm labor twice before I gave birth to my son. So I went to the hospital for a week,
Okay.
couldn't eat in case he was born early. He ended up being born early, but I had an amazing experience. So when I went to my last visit before I gave birth, his heart rate had dropped. My doctor said, "Listen, you go into the hospital today. He's coming out now." So I got to the hospital. They put me to sleep. It was an emergency C-section. I woke up the next day and my baby boy was there. So by having a woman of color, I don't know if that's what did it for me, but I had an
Yes.
amazing experience with my first son. The nurses were all phenomenal. They were all amazing because he was 4 pounds 4 ounces when he was born. So when I woke up the next day, there was nobody in the
Wow.
room with me. So they wheeled me down the hallway. He was under an oxygen bag. He had all kind of things hooked up to him. So I'm crying. I'm 15, right? Because I have no idea what's even going
Mhm.
on. So but I had a great experience with my son, with my daughter. She was also a C-section, but I had the option of vaginal or C-section. So when I went to prenatal labor with my son, I heard all kinds of screams coming from the maternity floor. So I said, "There's no way I'm pushing anything out of my vagina. It is just not going to happen." So if I had the option to
Look,
cut
I was
me
glad.
open again and push, I chose to cut me open. And so with my daughter, I had
Good
a
for
great
you.
experience. I had a group of doctors. They were all really amazing because it was like a practice. So I didn't have the same doctor every single time.
Oh
But
yeah.
every doctor I had, they were amazing. The nurses were amazing. So my daughter was a planned C-section. So we had to go to the hospital that morning. They checked us in. Everyone was really great about everything. So when I hear these other stories and the high mortality rate, it's really appalling and it's scary, and I think it's great that you, Tanisha,
Yeah.
have your mom as your advocate.
Oh
And I
yeah.
think that more of us really do need to have that. But my daughter, they cut her out. She came out. She was 7 pounds, 14 ounces. She was amazing. She was healthy. She was wonderful. So I
Yeah.
had a great experience when it came to giving birth. The C-section route was the way to go because the idea of anything coming out of my vagina again scares me.
It scares
Me
me too.
too. Me too.
So
You're
yeah.
a soldier,
Like
girl,
I
because
say,
I
you
know
know,
to heal from a C-section is it takes longer
Yeah,
than vaginal.
because they cut through your
yeah,
muscles and
Yeah,
everything, right?
Yes.
yes,
Yeah, they do. I have a
yes.
high
My
tolerance for
package so
pain, and
yeah.
luckily, I had doctors who really helped me manage through that. And so it was great, and I would do it again because pushing is
Yeah.
not something I'm interested in.
Those experiences are night and day. Like my one of my girlfriends, I was telling y'all about it before we got on here, Destiny. She has a podcast episode too, and she has 5 kids now. 4 girls, 1 boy, and the boy, her husband, moved to Philly ahead of time while she was pregnant, and she stayed in Austin to have her baby because she had four successful black babies from a black mother and a black doctor, with this doctor. So she stayed in Austin just to have her 5th child because of mortality rates and stuff, because she was like, I'm not dying, my child's not dying,
Right.
my child's not going to be suffocated, and I need somebody that's going to listen
hmm
to
Yep.
my
You
body and
do.
what's going on. And so
You do.
shit's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is. And I'll say just to speaking to like delivery, and then after that, for me, I didn't breastfeed, but for me, after I had my daughter, I was like, look, she is not leaving this room. Like I. It was like I was watching Lifetime a lot, and it was
Oh,
stuff
the
about her
babies at
being
birth.
kidnapped and things like that. Yeah, and switch that bird. There were I when I had my daughter, the Lacey Peterson thing was out, and they couldn't find her. She
Oh
was pregnant,
boy.
all this stuff. So I was like, she is going to stay in the room with me. And so the nurses were looking at me like, what do you mean? You just got a C-section. And I said, I will be okay. If you need to take her, you take her for the bath, you bring her right back.
Right.
Oh, the
Ooh.
pediatrician's
Right.
here.
Do you know they don't even
Okay,
take them
bring
out the
her
room no
right
more,
back.
Marissa? They don't take them.
Right.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
I wouldn't let
I
them
al-
take her. I was like, no, bring her right back. I fed her. They were like, oh, well, did she poop? Did she? How much did she drink today? And I wrote it all down on the chart like I was a nurse. I was
yes.
like, no, she's not leaving me.
Marissa, no, I
No,
watched
no,
those same
no.
things. I watched those same things, and I was always like, "Look, if I ever have a kid, I'm gonna have a Sharpie. While I'm still shaking, I'm gonna mark that baby. You're not taking my little chocolate, little piece of love. You're not taking my chocolate."
Girl, they don't even take them
Right.
out. They don't take the baby out the room no more now. The baby never leaves. They do everything in the room, so it ain't no switching. No, and they put an alarm on the baby ankle, so ain't no stealing no
Nice.
babies and taking them.
Oh
This it was totally
wow.
different when I had Chloe from 20 years ago giving birth. They put a monitor on you and the baby, or like an
Nice.
alarm, and they watch the baby get a shot.
That's good.
Everything in the room, the baby never leaves.
Oh, that's
The-
beautiful.
yeah, so do
Okay.
everything in the room.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Wow.
times times have changed.
Right. 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 Right.
But that's a good
Yeah,
change. That's a good change.
yeah, yeah.
Is
Absolutely.
there anyone in the
Absolutely.
audience like? Do they have questions, or those that are
How
watching
can
us
we
on
see
Facebook?
them?
Does anybody have questions for us? Or I know LaGina can.
Yeah, so I'm
Yes,
monitoring
she
it, and
can see.
Yolanda's been holding it down for us. But I'm sure we'll have a lot of restream viewers. So
Right.
I do want
Yeah.
to, because we have a couple minutes left, but I do want to go back and reintroduce ourselves. I want y'all to tell us how many kids you have, and maybe just, I don't know, an experience of being a modern mom, maybe in like 30 seconds, just your kids, the ages, and an experience of being a modern mom that we can close up with.
Oh, I
All right.
go.
Okay.
I
Go
go.
ahead.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We're all like,
We all
yes, y'all are beautiful. Go.
Look, four kids,
go ahead
ages
and go first.
21, 19, 16, and 11 months. And what I can tell you, I don't care if it's Christmas and she wants to wear a Halloween costume. She can do it. I'm not following no rules this time around. I'm creating them.
There you go. There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah. And I can say for me, I have a 17-year-old, and like I said, is one I basically told her to never be afraid of how she feels and to always understand that her voice is important, and don't let anybody make her feel bad about how she feels, because with her father not being around, I let her express that. It's not sugar coated. We talk about it, and
Right.
there's things that we've even realized in the last couple of weeks of her, with the way she is with boys, kind of plays on to, unfortunately, him not being around and the stuff that she experienced with him. And so we
Right.
talk about it and we talk through it. So it's not, I definitely make sure that she knows that she can express herself.
Got
Yeah.
it. So I have two children. My son is 22. He's in the Air Force. He's stationed in Japan. My daughter is 18, and she's still here in New York, and she is the princess around here. And so the one thing with my children is I say to them that I am here to defend you every which way possible, even if it's against you because you're being your own worst enemy. My job is to make sure that you're okay, that you are safe, that you are healthy, that you are doing well in life. And it means that I have to fight you because you're not doing what you need to do and be your own best advocate. I'll fight you too. So, and they
Yeah.
know that mama is here for you to keep you, here to support you, love you, and keep things on track. And I'm always going to be here. So that's been my biggest thing with my two kids.
Yeah. And for me, I have six godchildren ranging from 25 all the way to 5. And
Aw,
yeah, and then I have friends, so about maybe 15 to 20 kids that are in my love bubble that I consider taking on at any moment if needed, including flying to where they're at and picking them up and giving them a piece of life. And I think for me, as like a modern day mother with no kids, the biggest thing that I have done and can do and find effective is just being real, giving love, but giving that the real love, and just
right,
and just keeping it 100 about just like everything going on, and giving them the perspective of how good their parents are really to them, and the protect
right.
that their parents provide. I think Marissa may have gotten knocked off, but all good because we're coming to a close, and
Yeah,
all of the links y'all see for our follows are actually us on Instagram, where we are very live and poppin'. And so if anybody has any questions for any of us, follow us all. We all have our own separate worlds that are all just blissfully ran together by Marissa's live stream that she does. But we have Bella that talks about credit. We have Tanisha that is a big advocate for uplifting the single mother and not downplaying the dad in the situation. That's not what she is about. And she highlights that. And we also have Marissa, which I'm not even a mom, and I watch her damn live streams about just butterflies flying, and I'd be like over here like in the middle eating like yes, yes. And then Bella, and also I want to say congratulations to Bella for 3,000 followers on Instagram. So
thank
Yes.
you.
yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
And
you.
Yes.
yeah, most definitely. And then myself, I have a podcast That's the page we're streaming from. And then my brand, Lorraine Infinity. I'm an artist, and I'm opening a co-work space called the Us Space here in Houston, Texas. And it is focused around, thank you. Yeah, it's for the unapologetic, self-starting woman, always keeping in mind Black, Indigenous, women of color. So we want to be involved in thank you. We want to be involved in the conversations, and the table is for us. It's built for us, and we invite who we need to the table. So
Nice.
I appreciate this Saturday. We got to do this again. We got to jump back on and have another conversation around motherhood, because I think it is important, and y'all are the light that is leading our future, period. I don't give a damn what nobody says.
I agree.
Thank you, and thank y'all for look. It was on a whim,
Yep.
on Saturday, and I'm grateful that y'all actually were okay with, because sometimes you can reach out. Some people aren't okay with going live and doing things like that, or whatever. But I'm so grateful that y'all decided to do this with me, and because we were just in the chat, and I was like LaGina was saying, and we were just talking, and it was so good. I was like, we need to talk.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and Tanisha,
Absolutely.
you and I do a live here and there and stuff. So, and LaGina, thank you for putting this together, because look, we learned something from you today with streaming and using this platform to do this virtual panel that we've been doing. And look, once quarantine is over, whenever that's going to be, we can get together and meet somewhere, some type of way, and do something in person, I'm excited.
Absolutely.
I'm excited.
Sounds good.
No, I appreciate y'all. We have some people on here that are going to be coming out with podcasts soon. So follow us, look out for what we're doing, and hopefully we can get another panel together soon. I appreciate everybody. Thank you, ladies. And have a good Saturday. Have a good weekend.
You too.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care.